I graduated from high school in around June 1st, 1941, at the age of 17. After graduating, I went to work for J.C. Penney's, and I worked there for about 5 months. And my birthday was December 6th. Just after my birthday, one day later, the Japanese hit Pearl Harbor. Immediately, they were starting to sign people up to go to war. I was at a young age where they weren't taking me at that age. They had a machinist training program to train people for defense work. So I took a short course of that and was offered a job at Bremerton Navy Yard in Bremerton, Washington, which is near Seattle. Commander had requested that they not be drafted, that their duty was at the Navy Yard. So I stayed there 2 years. I soon started feeling like I should be more involved in the war. They had a program that they said only about 1% of the nation can pass this test. So I took what they call the Navy Radio Tech Test. I passed it, so they allowed me to join the Navy to become a radio tech.
Jim was sent to schools in Chicago, Illinois, Houston, Texas, and Treasure Island, California. After his training, he became a petty officer and was assigned to the USS Custer, a transport ship. His ship carried numerous occupation troops to the South Seas and Japan. One time, Jim saw a Japanese submarine come upon the radar, but it did not attack. On August 6, 1945, the United States dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. The Custer picked up the 5th Marine Division, a cocky bunch, at Iwo Jima and dropped them off at Pearl Harbor. While there on August 15, 1945, Jim and the crew received word that Japan had surrendered. All the ships in the harbor were shooting off rockets and fireworks except his ship because he had a commander who wouldn't let them. After the war was over, his ship had to sail to Japan to drop off the 6th Army Regiment. As they were sailing near the Japanese coast, Jim thought that they were going to be attacked. He thought, did they really surrender? That was his most frightening experience during the war. The Japanese could have blasted them out of the water, but they didn't. The war was really over. He had been blessed to not have seen any real action. Jim said people had no respect for Japan after Pearl Harbor. They regained it at the end of the war. Japan changed. It blossomed like a rose. They went from bad to good. The war changed them for the good. The sad thing is that it took a bloody war to change them. After Jim was formally released from the Navy, he received a letter of appreciation sent from Washington, July 3, 1946. It was from the Secretary of the Navy, James Forrestal. In part it read,
"You have served in the greatest navy in the world. It crushed 2 enemy fleets at once, receiving their surrenders only 4 months apart. No other navy at any time has done so much. For your part in these achievements, you deserve to be proud as long as you live. The nation which you served at a time of crisis will remember you with gratitude."
During the war, the Navy men called the pictures of girls they received cheesecake. Jim received letters and pictures from a girl he met named Marjorie Johnson. Ew. He looked at his favorite picture and said to himself, when I get home, I am going to date that girl.
During World War II, everyone was asked to write the soldiers. It was their patriotic duty to give them encouragement, and Marge wrote so many letters that her dad was having a hard time buying all those stamps, which were 3 cents each. So Marge got her first job at a dime store to pay for them. She has continued to write letters throughout her life. She went from soldiers to missionaries and also included friends everywhere. As President Monson says, to inform is to inspire, and to ignore is to injure. Marge started high school in Pocatello, Go Pokey High, but she finished her last couple of years at Idaho Falls High School in Idaho Falls. She worked at Fogg's Drugstore at the soda fountain after school. She loved working there, and experience was vital as she has been able to teach her grandchildren how to make good ice cream sodas. During the war, there was a shortage of candy and ice cream, but Marge was able to get a candy bar once in a while because she was at work when an occasional shipment would come in.